What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video, and today's topic is, well, again, as ChatGPT made a suggestion, I'm always gonna ask in the morning, give me an idea to discuss, well, not discuss, give me a topic, an idea to talk about on YouTube, because I don't have any ideas. I'm not a very creative person, but when I am, I'm very creative, but not creatively consistently. I am creative once in a while, not creative all the time. So yeah, the topic that it actually recommended is, why are modern cars becoming too complicated to own? And that's actually a great topic. I actually did want to talk about this idea. Well, first, let's start off with why older cars are not very complicated to own. Like, for example, this car, it's a 2012 C63 AMG, and it is probably very easy to own. And a lot of people might think, oh my god, it's so expensive and it's so complicated and it's so hard to maintain. No, it's not. Just put gas in it, make sure the oil level is good. If it starts making any kind of weird noises, do some very simple mechanical diagnostics, replace the parts, and just keep driving. And it'll literally drive pretty much forever, as long as you just maintain it well. It doesn't really have any crazy like electrical problems that, you know, could randomly fail. Unless, like, you know, whatever, you leave the sunroof open and water gets inside and floods the whole entire car. Yeah, you'll probably have some problems. It'll probably have electrical problems with like the SAM module or whatever, you know, or every single electrical module will probably go bad. But then again, that's not just this car, that's every car. You get water in the car, that's it, your car is done. So yeah, like, this car is so simple. Even, for example, I have a noise in the back that's kind of going and it's making a little bit of noise at slow speed. I know what it is. It's the parking brake shoes. I gotta replace them. Very simple. They're like $100 for the set, and then it's like 2.5 hours of labor to take the wheel off. You gotta take the rotor off, and then once you take the rotor off, there's like these little springs and shims, and those little shoes, they're like, they look like kind of like cow feet. It's kind of funny. So you just take those off and then replace the little metal clips and stuff. Oh, we just went underneath the train. That means we're gonna be rich. So just replace those and that's it. Very simple. It's really straightforward, and then it's not gonna make any noise. Then, for example, another noise that I'm kind of getting is when I'm braking and coming to like a complete stop, I'm getting like this little thunk, like little thump. I know what it is. It's the front left control arm with the ball joint, I believe, facing downwards. So again, those control arms, yeah, they're a little bit expensive for Mercedes-Benz. I think they're like $700 each, but you can get them on Amazon. You can get the pair for like $180. And if you really want to like save some money, just go on AliExpress. You get the set for like $100 plus like $20 shipping or whatever. Yeah, you're getting Chinese parts, but at the end of the day, metal is metal. You know, yeah, metal is metal. Especially for like control arms, it's fine. Again, they all use the same supplier at the end of the day. One is branded, one is not branded. So, you know, it needs control arms. I'm not in a rush to replace them because, well, it's not making crazy noise, but whatever, you know, it needs it. I'll replace it eventually. And then what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe an oil change? That's it. It's so simple. These cars are very easy to maintain. So now let's get into the modern cars and why they're so complicated and kind of not really hard to own, but they're getting complicated to the point where you need your own Formula One team to maintain them and diagnose them and figure out like this and that. It's getting a little bit annoying. So, great example. At work, we have this one Ferrari SF90 Spider that was in for just kind of, you know, some you know, programming and stuff like that. And anyways, we were very successful in doing it. You know, the client was very happy. But even if you put the car on charge, like you connect a charger directly to the battery, leave the car on charge. Mind you, it's a hybrid. So you leave the car on charge, and then afterwards, you try to get into the car, you try to press that button on the steering wheel, that like kind of illuminated one. It's not even a real button, it's just kind of like this touch sensor on the what do you call it, on the steering wheel. You like hover your finger over it and like press the button. the car doesn't want to turn on. It's a hybrid, obviously, so you think, oh, the car is on, it's going to go into EV mode. Well, guess what? It doesn't even go to EV mode. It doesn't like turn on. Why? Because the battery, for like a split second, decided to go flat and basically turn off everything. Everything, literally everything. And the only way to reset the whole entire car is to put another charger on it, another special charger, and then plug in your diagnostic port and clear all the codes, and then maybe if the car feels like it, it'll start. It's ridiculous. And then guess what? Because the battery went not low to zero, but just a little bit lower than it's supposed to, it loses all of the tire pressure monitoring sensors, and you have to reset them. Like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. You can, whatever, just press the button to reset it. But guess what? The button to reset, it's not just simple. It's not just, you just press a button, that's it. Like, for example, on this car, I'll show you guys. It's really quick. I press the back button, I go left, service, tire pressure, okay. Run flat indicator active, press okay to restart. Tire pressure now okay, yes, done. Run flat indicator, restart it. It literally takes like 5 seconds, probably, to reset the tire pressure on this car. You guys wanna know how long it takes to reset the tire pressure on that Ferrari? 30 minutes. It's crazy. It's literally insane. You have to go into this special menu. The car has to be like at a happy voltage of battery. Then you have to go through all the menus and everything, press calibrate, and then the car might go into calibration mode if all the conditions are met. You could have the tire pressure set like perfectly, and it'll still say calibration not possible. Then you gotta drive the car to calibrate the TPMS. Like, yeah, sure, every single car needs to be calibrated, but it's little stuff like that it's so annoying. It is so annoying to have to do, because cars are getting so complicated. Like, all these hybrids and these like voltage systems, God forbid you damage any of those systems, or for example the car gets into an accident, that's it. Like, all those safety systems, they literally turn off. Some of them will literally just, that's it. Some fuse will pop that's underneath like the frame, whatever car, and then guess what? The car won't start. Or for example, in that car, if you ever crash that car, God forbid, and then the airbag goes off, well, guess what? Yeah, you can fix the whole entire car. You can change all of the damaged parts, all the sensors, then make sure all the CAN bus and everything is connected and all, working and proper. You can clear all the codes and everything, replace the airbag, make sure the battery is working, make sure that all of those crash sensors are, like, the data is wiped, and make sure that it's all working properly. You could literally even, like, literally make sure the car is absolutely perfect, and then go to start the car and it won't start. You want to know why? Because on some of these cars, those data boards, like the actual boards where all the circuitry is, they are so sensitive that even a tiny little scratch on them, again, like in any modern computer, because these cars are all computers, if one of those data boards is even scratched a tiny bit, the car won't start. Well, guess what? Because when the airbag, for example, ruptures, it explodes. Well, not into my face, but into anybody's face, hopefully. Hopefully not. Basically, where the airbag sits, there's like a little board beside it on the steering wheel. That airbag kind of goes boom. It explodes and kind of scratches like that. It scratches the steering wheel, and then that's it. And then that board no longer works. That's it. Like, you can replace the airbag and the airbag will function. You'll have no codes for like an airbag light, but then the steering wheel, the button that you actually press to start the car, it will not work. And you want to know why it's not working? Well, because the airbag blew up and damaged that board. That's it. And the car won't start. And you'll be like, why is the car not starting? And you'll be going crazy trying to figure it out. But guess what? That damaged circuit board on, for example, on the steering wheel, it will not give you a code saying steering wheel circuit board, whatever, short circuit to itself, whatever, like the board got pinched or something, and now the pins are touching each other. It's not going to tell you that because, well, for example, Ferrari, they never programmed that as a fault into the steering wheel. So you'll never even know where to look until you literally take it apart, open up the little leather piece and look inside and be like, oh, yeah, that's damaged. So these cars are getting so complicated and diagnostics is getting so difficult that you don't even really know where to start. And the price of doing diagnostics is getting more and more expensive. And not just for yourself, but for the clients. So how can you justify going, you know, and doing, I don't know, 8, 16, 24 hours of diagnostics just to find one little tiny problem, and then telling the person, oh, it literally took me 24 hours or whatever, 48 hours to diagnose this one little problem that took, you know, 30 seconds to fix. The 30-second fix was order a new steering wheel. So yeah, guys, these new cars are getting complicated, and as much as we all love new cars, sometimes the old ones are the best. So if you have an older car and you're thinking about getting a new one, I don't know, as long as you can get parts for your old car, I suggest you guys should keep it. Keep your old cars, they're awesome. And who knows, maybe someday in 50 years when everything is electric, cars like this, people are gonna be, they're gonna trade on the black market like as if they're like some crazy drug, because everybody's gonna want one, but they're not gonna exist anymore. You never know, who knows? So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Peace.